Now, you may have heard of some other self-driving operators like Waymo, which used to be part of Google, and Argo, which is backed by Ford and Volkswagen. Cruise is tied very closely to GM, General Motors, which is the largest auto manufacturer in the US. Cruise has 160 self-driving test vehicles that are Chevy Bolts electric vehicles here in San Francisco, where they hope to eventually launch a fully driverless robo-taxi service. But more importantly, they've raised about $7 billion in venture capital cash over the last couple of years, which is really just like a staggering amount of money for a self-driving car company, especially when you consider that they haven't even scaled a commercial product yet. Now, about $2.7 billion of that is coming from the other big auto manufacturer in Cruise's corner, and that's Honda. This doesn't look like any other car on the road today, and that's because Cruise says it wants to move beyond the car, arguing that many of the problems that we have today can be traced to single occupancy vehicles. Cruise says that this car is going into production, but it's going to be tough getting there. Cruise needs a special exemption from the federal government in order to mass produce vehicles without traditional human controls like steering wheels and pedals. And the federal government only grants about 2,500 exemptions a year. Now, GM put in its request for an exemption back in 2018, but it hasn't gotten it yet. And it's unclear when exactly this car is going to be approved to hit the road.
Zoox is developing a better way to go from A to B in dense urban areas. And we're doing this through autonomous technology, ground-up vehicle design, as well as the service to back that up.
To be able to drive safely in the city, you need unrivaled visibility, if you like. So our sensor suite that we have, which is a combination of LiDAR, radar, cameras, need to be able to see 360 degrees around the vehicle, but more importantly, need to be able to see as early as possible. So as we come up to traffic junctions, as we come up to overtake vehicles, you'll notice we've positioned the sensors to give that visibility as early as possible. That means that our vehicle is seeing more than the human can see, and that enables it to deploy and operate safely. Our current L3 fleet are Toyota Highlanders. They're deployed already, operating in the cities, driving in the cities. That's all visible online. Anyone can jump online and take a look at that. The sensor positions on those vehicles are almost identical to the sensor positions we have on our L5 vehicle. And that's super important because it means that the testing that's being done in the mega cities is basically a substitute of our own vehicle being in that situation. And geometrically identical sensor positions means that any development that we do on the L3 Highlanders and any of the driving we do is directly transferable to our vehicle. So the vehicle you see behind me here, these are our first vehicles built off our production tooling. We went through the prototyping phase on the previous generation. We proved out that design. We're now building these vehicles off those production tools, and these vehicles will go through the same rigorous testing and certification to the Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standards. The vehicle is designed to operate up to 75 miles an hour, which means that it's highway capable. And it can do that in either direction, being fully bidirectional. And that's been proven out on private test tracks.
So at Zoox, our artificial intelligence gets better every couple of weeks because we're constantly testing and training in some of the hardest urban environments. We've specifically focused for now on San Francisco and Las Vegas, which are two great markets for robotaxis and wonderful places to learn how to drive. Our vehicles are powered by a custom sensor architecture, very advanced compute, and also hundreds of thousands of hours of simulations that go even beyond what we're able to test and experience in real life.
As it drives, Waymo uses LiDAR, which sends out millions of laser beams per second to build up a detailed picture of the world all 360 degrees around it. It also uses radar to detect how far away objects are and their speed. And high-resolution cameras detect visual information, like whether a traffic signal is red or green. It then combines all that data to understand the world around it. Take a look around. You're now riding in a fully self-driving car. Some things might immediately stand out. The fact that there's no one in the driver's seat, no one turning the wheel, and the screens, which show you what the car is seeing and the route it's taking. But you might also notice that the ride feels a lot like being driven in a regular car.